YouTube. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Twitch, and Twitter, if anybody could even see it anymore. I'm just a word from MakingStarWars.net. Hi, Internet. Hi, podcast people. Also, make sure you subscribe to the show on Spotify and give it a thumbs up or whatever their equivalent is. Give it a good rating, all that jazz. Like this video, whichever platform you're watching it on, or I'll hate you forever. And be a channel member on YouTube if you want to support the show. You can also support the show as a different kind of channel member on Spotify, it turns out now. So if that's better for you, or you have a hard time subscribing on YouTube because they make it so difficult for no reason, I don't know why it's so hard. It's like they don't want your money. I want your money, but YouTube doesn't. I don't know why. But anyways, I'm going to let Rob come on the show, but Rob right now is adding a second coat of wax to Tom Cruise's car. Oh, hey, you're done. You're good. It's all wax. How's
it? You've been wanting to talk about me waxing Tom Cruise for 6 months now, Jason. You finally worked that joke in,
huh? Yesterday, I was at this monster shop, and they had the coolest Brad Pitt as Louis Poindexter from Interview with the Vampire. And I was like, oh, is there the Lestat version? No, there's not, because he won't let his likeness be used.
Oh,
yeah. I hate Tom Cruise. I hate him. The Brad Pitt looks so good too.
You're just bummed. You're just bummed out about Indy. You're taking it out on Tom Cruise. All right. It's not his fault.
No, it has nothing to do with Indy. It has to do with.
It's not his fault.
It has to do with cruise control.
Can't wait, man.
All right,
8 more days.
Actually, a show was 8 more days until Tom Cruise does this. Tom Cruise should just jump Caesar's Palace. That would be more fun. All right,
I'd watch it.
You would watch it. All right. So, really quickly, Bonus Egg says Kathleen Kennedy. That's kind of the topic of the show. Let's talk about Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy made my cereal soggy and recorded over my favorite VHS tape. To be fair, Bonus Egg, she probably made the movies on those VHS tapes, though.
Did you Kathy bait the audience today, Jason?
I did.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, and Ben brings up something. I saw this through Ben, I think. Hey, I have the same opinion as Christian Harloff. Okay, and so right here is Christian Harloff's opinion. And for the record, I'm not. I think his take is his take. It's totally fine. No disrespect on that, but you have to look at it like a sports fan. You can be a fan of the team and realize that the coach they hired just isn't winning the games. Made some plays that worked, but most of them didn't. It might be time for that coach to coach another team. Now,
here's the difference, though.
Yeah, there's a big difference. Yeah,
I'll let you speak, but let me get this out because I just want people to.
Here's the problem with these sports. Get it out, cruise control on.
Here's the problem with these sports analogies. In sports like football, you have high school teams with coaches, college teams with coaches, and then professional level teams, right, with coaches. There's not the same system for producers in Hollywood. You don't have a truck of producers going down at the high school level that then graduate to the college level.
A24, bro.
Professional.
No, I'm kidding.
Right? Yeah, it's like it's the same. It's the same group of less than. It's got to be less than 100, but 50 active working executives, right? That can go to a CEO level.
Yeah.
And maybe even 20. And they don't retire like at 30 or 40 or 50. They're in this till they're 70. They're in this as long as possible. So it's like, who are you going to go with?
Well, okay.
I'm just curious because if you ask Harloff the same question in 2017, he would have said Kevin Feige or Jon Favreau, and now he won't. He wouldn't say that.
And here's why ultimately, like I see his point of when a producer has a bunch of losses and there's no winning in sight, it is time to move on. 100%. Like I see his point there. But the thing about it is in sports, you put the ball in the hole. That doesn't change. So you could come up with new strategies to get the ball in the hole. But the thing about it is everything with film and art, the goalpost is always moving. What worked in 2015 does not work in 2023. That's why 2019 strategies aren't working in 2023 for like films. Art is not the same as sports. It never is going to be. Jock rock ruined music. you just want to keep the sports away from art. It does not work. It's his point. I agree with his point. I don't agree with his analogy. Is that fair? Does that seem like,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. I agree with this point. I don't agree with the analogy.
Yeah.
It's like saying, you know what? None of these comedians they're not my cup. They're not working. Time to clean them out and get some new comedians. It's like you just make funny people. It's subjective. There's at the end of the day, they're making subjective stuff. And so I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is a filmmaker actively right now in Hollywood. And that's why I was late. And I called him up. I'm like, I don't bug you, but happy Independent Colonizers Day. And I wanted to talk to him about it. You know, this guy's written and produced films, major motion pictures. And I'm like, who would you put in charge? He's like, he don't know.
And that right there is 100% the nightmare scenario, because who does take Kathleen Kennedy's place? And it can't just be somebody who you like because you like the last Spider-Man movie they made. That's just not how this actually works in the end. Like you liked Mangold's Wolverine movie. Did you like his Indiana Jones? So should he make all Star Wars movies because you like the Wolverine movie? But then he made Indiana Jones and you didn't like. So it's not how it works.
Tony
There's
Gilroy's
not a good
Star
answer.
Wars. Yeah. I like Tony Gilroy's Star Wars a lot, right? Sure. But I want him busy making that. I don't want him busy signing off on productions and having meetings all day about 7 other projects that may or may not get made. Like, you need someone who handles that job. Like, they think, you know, because you don't want an executive producer who's ghost directing. Like, you don't want a Kurt situation, right, where he thinks he's a director but he's a producer. You don't want that.
What's funny about it though, is that it's a really difficult thing to explain to a general audience, the difference between a creative producer and Kathleen Kennedy does fall into the creative producer purview, but then she backs the fuck off to such a degree where if you're not fucking up, she's not really a creative producer at that moment anymore. That's what's kind of interesting about her. Like she's not sitting there in her hot tub going, you know what I want to see? I want to see some lesbians make Star Wars. Like, she doesn't do that. That's not her thing. The lesbians come to her and say, we want to make Star Wars. She goes, what's your pitch? They say it's Frozen.
You can actually hear her talk about.
And then they make it. But the weirdos take it into such a place where what Ben's bringing up is that you can't critique her without seeming like you're part of the clan over there on, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the same guys who are saying you need to get rid of her because Indiana Jones failed are the same guys that contributed to Indiana Jones failing with their made up schlock about what the movie was and their made up stories about it. I
still stand Crystal Skull is a Star Wars movie. So
the first half of Crystal Skull is a much better movie though. That's the irony.
Did you hear Red Letter Media?
I haven't watched it yet. Is it good? Is it funny?
They basically were like, Crystal Skull, the first half is great, but the second half of this one's good, and they want to put those two together.
There you go.
I was like,
and that's
nerds.
what I've always said. I've always said that.
This is like when you date a girl and she's like, I wish I could take 3 boyfriends and put them together to make Azatru, right? Like the perfect man, right? Yes. The perfect person. Yeah. You know, the good guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Azatru, who would you put in charge of Star Wars? The Lego guys?
See,
Michael Bay. Michael Bay. Azatru says Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
You literally you said what I've said. Like, I don't want a creative in charge. I want them making stuff. It doesn't make any sense. Like, people have been banging on for the last what feels like almost a decade now since The Force Awakens came out that they want Dave to replace him. It's like that's not what he's good at. It makes no sense. They don't.
If you
care.
like what Dave is doing, you don't even want Dave getting promoted anymore. You want Dave right in that. I mean, obviously we want the best for Dave, but in reality, you don't want Dave becoming the CEO, the president of Disney. You don't want that. That's not going to get you what he does.
I'm a president of Disney.
No.
Oh my God.
Why did we say his name?
El Presidente Felone. That's what you call me. I can't wait.
I know.
Jason, when I'm president of Disney, you don't get no mac and cheese at the Star Wars no more. You don't get it.
Do I have to call you Commandant Filoni?
You got wax my car.
Oh, we got a super chat. I just saw it.
By the way, Filoni, you got to change your background, man. It's not your birthday month anymore.
It's not your birthday month anymore, Filoni. Lonely Lizard gave a super chat. And thank you, Lonely Lizard. And said, any word on when the final Ahsoka trailer will drop? Yeah, I hate to be like the cookie cutter thing, but we were always hearing like about a month before, and that's like the same as everything else. And on this one, why I find it interesting is they are supposed to start doing different rollouts. So like the patterns of yesteryear won't apply going forward, but I think Ahsoka might still be the business as usual. So I'm expecting business as usual for Ahsoka, not for Skeleton Crew.
But I want to get back to actual answers.
But back to the thing here.
Tangenting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who at Universal? Is every movie at Universal doing well? Like the majority of them? Like, are they creatively satisfying you? How about Paramount?
Mm-hmm.
How about Sony? How about Warner Brothers? I'm just going through. How about Lionsgate? Is Lionsgate doing your? Is A24? Is everything at A24? I mean, I have friends who hate everything everywhere. You know what I mean? And they're the ones complaining also about. I'm like, well, so who is doing? Kevin Feige, Bad Robot ain't making nothing. They take $500 million from Warner's and don't make nothing. Like, you figure that one out.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out, like, who do you go to?
And then, well, here's the other thing: is like I actually think when you get down to it, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is an above average film. It's an above average popcorn movie. Everybody could have their fucking gripes because they have this relationship with the fictional character and all that stuff, all they want. I'm just saying, objectively, it's a much more well-made popcorn movie than your average popcorn movie.
Same with The Mummy.
Said,
Tom Cruise is The Mummy.
No, Tom Cruise.
It's
that was terrible. That was boring.
No, it wasn't.
It was boring.
It's above average.
It's Brandon Fraser's Mummy.
No, I'm talking about the 2017 The Mummy.
It's a 5. Tom Cruise's Mummy is a 1.5.
No.
When I was out in LA for Battlefront 2 stuff, they had
3.5.
next to the hotel we was at in Hollywood, they had like a massive mummy, like 30 feet in the air. It was everywhere around Hollywood was all mummy.
Did it go? Thetans. No, okay.
No. They said Jesus.
Hey,
what's the difference?
Hey. You think you're making a clever point? You're self-defeating yourself right now on that one.
I know. That's what I do. I self-defeat myself. Yeah,
self-defeat.
Yeah. No, I'm in a dark place.
No, but anyways, the thing is, like, I am of the opinion that we are to a point with Kathleen Kennedy where she has probably, in terms of what she does give, has given a lot. And has had wins and losses and all of that. And I honestly don't think if Indiana Jones was a different movie, I don't think it was going to perform any different.
No, I agree.
I think it was kind of screwed out the gate.
It could be like
at it
10 times better, and it would struggle. Like,
it was like gonna.
I think because obviously we had the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with such a long gap. Even if that was much better to a lot of people, it wouldn't really have affected this one because it's like you're getting two within, like, I know it's just over a decade, but it was a longer gap beforehand.
They let it fall off.
The last one.
They let it fall off.
Yeah, time's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it does.
Look, if it was a big adventure, Top Gun 2 shouldn't have made $1 billion if time had anything. Avatar shouldn't have made $2 billion if it.
Okay, Rob. Moving forward, I want you to make the same points without Avatar or Top Gun, because if it's a universal,
but they literally came out like the last time an Indiana Jones movie came out. Like the same distance.
It depends on the project. Like Avatar's different. Like it did so well, but then there was a 14.
But then everyone hated on it for the better part of 12, 15 years.
Not
and
as much
a sequel came out.
Not as much as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's for sure.
Like, my point, Rob, is that it actually, like,
you weren't taking those hits as a true like I was. You have no idea. I could come on here and tell you I didn't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and everyone would tell me it was actually really good. I come on here and tell you I like Avatar, bro. They still won't let it go.
I've seen Indiana Jones 3 times now, and you want to know what the difference in the demographics are at every screening I went to? It's all me and you, and none of the guy downstairs here below me. It's all us. We did come out to see Indiana Jones, and they didn't. They went out to see the Flash, and we didn't. and you end up with a equivalent of 2 failures.
But the Flash is their generation's
Flash.
Flash, so
Right,
that's on them.
But our Batman was there, and
there's Shazam too.
I
and they're
Black
Black
Adam. For
Adam.
both. I mean,
They're Black Adam. There's Shazam.
When we go back to the 80s,
there's Shazam too.
Everybody in the 80s is a bunch of posers because you and I were there. We get to call everybody of our generation a bunch of posers because we were there at the end. When Michael Keaton was like, I have some regrets in life, we were like holding his hand while he died. They weren't there at the end, and for Indy either. So you know what I mean? But but that's what I mean. That's where we're at with it though, is that it fell off. There was no cartoon. The most of the kids after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just had no connection to the movies. Not at all. Most of the people of our age, like I had kids late, considering like most people have kids in their 20s. They shouldn't, but they do.
Crystal Skull hit me at the right time. Like that's what got me into Indy. Like I was got into Star Wars.
How old were you when it hit? About roughly.
I was 9.
Yeah.
I was going to be 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I just got into Star Wars, and then I heard like obviously because of Star Wars, I saw like there was a Lego Indiana Jones game like coming out. I was like, oh, it's Harrison Ford, Han Solo, and then there was like a new film. I was like, oh, okay. So I watched the originals, loved them. Then went to see the Kingdom of Crystal Skull the day it came out. I had all the Lego. Like the Lego was like the main thing for me. And then for like a year, Indiana Jones was like the thing, like Lego specifically Indy. And then like I sort of like Clone Wars was coming out at the same time, and was like it didn't really do it for me as much. And like compared to most people my age,
to anybody,
Well, unless she was like my age, like most people think Clone Wars is like the best thing ever.
My half brother is your age, and I took him to the theater to see it. I was like, cool, something we could like do together, and like I took him there, and he was like, yeah, it's fine.
I think I liked it. I liked it because it was a Star Wars. It was a Star Wars film in the in the cinema that like I was like, oh, we're never gonna get another one again. Like I was,
no, never.
So Brandon
Lucas is buying it all back and not making Star Wars movies. That's what happened.
Brandon brings up a point about what I think is the most legitimate thing to ask, and the most legitimate thing that's going to be used against Kennedy in the coming days, or should be, as opposed to some made up scene that didn't happen in the movie where Phoebe Waller-Bridge told Harrison Ford, put your cock away, I'm the daddy now. That never happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like those people made it sound. But Brandon asks, why would she make Indy for $250+ million? Let's be honest, it's $300+ million dollars, and that budget, it makes no sense for the movie. So what you have with Indiana Jones is you have a corporation. So this is the best answer I have at the moment after a few conversations I've had. The corporation, Disney itself, buys Lucasfilm with Indiana Jones 5 already in conceptual production. Okay. They're like talking about it. George has some ideas. Steven has some ideas. Harrison wants to do it. They don't have anything like ironed out, whatever, but it exists. It's part of the original little thing that they bought from Lucasfilm when they bought it for the $4 billion, which they don't like to highlight because it makes that $4 billion seem even more paltry. Not after the failure of this movie, but you get my point. And so what you have, though, is George Lucas walks away with a producer's fee because he started it. Steven Spielberg walks away, but they want the pedigree. Like right now, they're making it seem like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas produced this movie. Financially, they did. They got paid to produce it at what they get paid. And then Mangold gets paid his directing fee and his producing fee. And then you have 5 writers on it, and Mangold doing the writing as well onto it. And then you have Harrison Ford getting $20 million. All of this is true. One thing that is not true, Deadline, if you need to know Deadline, I'm going to be honest with you. They never tested this movie. Lucasfilm doesn't test their films. That didn't happen. This movie didn't get extra money and promotion or anything like that because of a test score. They don't test their films. Never happened. But all of that stuff is accurate. All of these things. So you have all of this. You have a movie now that is already set up to be the most expensive movie for Indiana Jones of all time. Then you have a pandemic. Then you have the corporation, Disney, direct Kathleen Kennedy, just do it. Just make the movie happen. Because after the pandemic, we're gonna fucking be raining money, baby. Nobody's gonna want to be inside anymore. And then
That's hyperbole.
That's what happened, though. This is what happened.
Okay.
This
It's not hyperbole.
No,
That's
it's
fact.
not. No, this is fact. This is. I mean, that was their like thinking, was that after the pandemic, when we
did they do the hand thing though?
No, I didn't.
I just wanted
That was hyperbole.
Okay, that's hyperbole.
That was hyperbole.
Okay.
I consider it performative.
If Katzenberg was still there, he would have done the hands.
Oh, he would have been like, baby.
Yeah.
But anyways, so so you have all of that stuff, but essentially, all of that. Then you have I don't know the dollar value, so I think I know the dollar value, and it starts with the 2 and it ends with the O, but I don't know for certain. So I'm pretty sure I'm right, but let's just leave it at that. Harrison Ford's injury caused production slowdown, made it go a little over time. So you have all of these things, and honestly, was there maybe a creative solution for the producer to make this movie make financial sense? Maybe there wasn't. Maybe that's where the fault lies with her. But when you actually look at it, there's no magic like little feather in her cap that's going to save Kathleen Kennedy from this one because of a choice that she made. All of the choices that happened with this film and the duets and stuff like that were in tandem with Disney itself. Now, will somebody have to take the slap on the face? Will they just put it on Chapek or something like that because he's gone and it started while he was kind of there? You know, a lot of it. I don't know. I don't know how who takes the blame, who takes the fault. But
Zaslav.
Zaslav. I'm like, fuck that guy. Might as well.
No,
but
same dude.
But Zaslav is exactly my nightmare scenario. Is that Kathleen Kennedy gets fired, and there's some Disney fucking little monster who's a little.
This is the thing. It's like people seem to think she's the worst person ever to exist, but like there's far worse people out there. That like
Tom Rothman. I'll name one. Unlike you guys out there who just bitch, I'll name a fucking name. His name is Tom Rothman, and he's fucking running Sony. They fired him for Fox for fucking up. He fucked up a lot of things, but there's the straw, the knife in the back. Was they had Darren Aronofsky directing the Wolverine movie with the Christopher McQuarrie script based off the Frank Miller, Chris Claremont Ninja Run, and he threw it away, and you got Wolverine Origins. Right. That's what happened. You know, he got involved personally in that one. He's the reason why Galactus was a cloud. He's the reason why, it goes on and on. Quote unquote, the fart. Sentinels weren't in X-Men 2 because, quote unquote, from Tim Rothman, I can never remember which, it's Tom Rothman, I think. He goes, giant robots are stupid. This is before Transformers, right?
Yeah.
Giant robots are stupid. That's why Sentinels aren't in X-Men 2 and they weren't in X-Men 3 and Galactus was a cloud. And then he somehow gets thrown out and then becomes head of Sony when Pascal, the North Korea email leaks hit. Mm-hmm. So Amy Pascal leaves. Now, all you fucking people out there were like, that's right. Fuck that bitch. Get rid of her. But then she goes and runs Sony Animation. Now you love Spider-Verse. So you figure that one out, folks. Yeah. You know, you figure out what you want. I don't know what people want anymore. I don't get it. You know?
Harrison Ford signed on for Indiana Jones, or I should say Raiders of the Lost Ark, with a deal that gave him 5 films. So that's why I always knew when they were saying it was going to be the guy from The Hangover, when they were saying it was going to be the guy from Jurassic World and all that, I was like, they're not going to do it because they still have to pay Harrison either way. And that's why I knew this was going to have Ford in it almost no matter what if he wanted to do it, which he did. And but his deal was for 5 pictures. He got paid either way, and he gets points on the films themselves. So from my understanding, Ford gets something like 10 million for doing the picture. Then when all is said and done, he probably walks away with somewhere between 20 million and 25 million. And maybe I don't know if I'm going to guess that Harrison Ford doesn't fall prey to the funny Hollywood accounting that we oftentimes see other people with less power. He probably has like the best entertainment lawyers to ever exist on the face of the planet, I would imagine. And so he will end up with his money is my point. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Jason. Do you, and as you, I don't know if you can answer this, but you can chime in on what you just think. Like maybe the answer isn't to look to other film studios what if they hired producers for these roles from game studios? Because when you look at a AAA game project, like anything Naughty Dog makes, anything Rockstar makes, those are cycles of 5 to 6 years to get those projects from conception through to final with marketing onto the shelf, and to cultivate fan base. Like maybe the CEOs and producers of the game studios would be better equipped in this day and age. They would at least understand the production part, like of the technical aspect of integrating that into the final thing versus the old 70s, 80s auteur producer who's like, I got this creative person who's going to solve all our things. Like that's not one person isn't going to make a video game happen, So I just wonder if maybe that's where they should be looking to. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually trying to provide real answers if we can even get there versus just bitching about what I don't like. Because like I've been there since I don't like any of the fucking prequels, like I don't think the answer to this is a 90-year-old George Lucas,
but that's like what you just said. That was like a good point about the George Lucas thing, or a good thing to bring up, because it's like you're linking that to the auteur theory that that's the thing is there's not one auteur who's going to make everybody happy, or even the majority of the large Star Wars fan base happy. Now, realistically, if they would have to murder the Star Wars fan base by making films that nobody wanted, it has to get very small. Then they make films that only that audience wants. And then as that audience grows again, then it seems like somebody's doing the right thing. But then it balloons up to what it is, and then it fails again because that will never be the answer. And because I hate to say it, but it's just as simple as you can't please everyone.
Like when you look at the storylines, even in Battlefront 2, people may they didn't hate it. They were like, I'd like more storyline integrated. They weren't like, this is bullshit. When you see the storylines for Fallen Order, Survivor, they're not hating it. They would just like that. I just think maybe the game studios, and it's not I'm being biased because I'm a gamer. You know me, man. Like I'm not like I don't think
you're not a real gamer.
Like
you didn't play Zelda. So
Nintendo being creatively involved in the Mario movie did help. You understand what I mean?
It did help with their on it, but also what's ironic about it is it didn't. Mario is a successful film. It got the ball in the hole, but it did not make an actual good film. I like it. I do. I had a good time watching it with my kids, but would I say it's a good film when I hold it up against other films, especially other films that made that much money? And the answer is it's probably the worst movie that ever made that much money. And so but you're not wrong though, in the sense that, or I like your idea, I should say, in that like a lot of these people that are making games know their audience in a way that Kathleen Kennedy, I think, doesn't.
And I want to be clear here.
Yeah.
The CEO of Activision is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that actually run the studios, the development studios and production. Because I've personally worked with these producers and directors. The producers and directors at Toys for Bob are not the CEO of Activision. I'm just letting you know. So whoever's over at Remedy, right, working on it was Remedy that did Survivor, am I right? Or is that Respawn?
Vince Ampella's the head of Respawn, but now he's probably the best example in my opinion, because he's been he's created Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Titanfall, gone on to do Star Wars, and now not only has he raised through the ranks of EA as just the head of Respawn and sold his studio to them, but now he's in charge of sorting Battlefield out. And so he's in charge of all things Apex, Star Wars, and Battlefield. And he's like a guy you'd want in charge of Lucasfilm, because he gets things done. Everything he's done at EA has been a success.
Yeah.
And he knows what it is. But yeah, someone in the games industry, that sort of person,
right,
could work.
And they aren't the one conjuring up loot schemes and NFT bullshit. That's the parent company nonsense. I'm talking.
Wouldn't it be cool though if Kathleen Kennedy was trying to sell you NFTs this whole time? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that have been a fun ride?
I listened to an interview with her and Frank Marshall. Empire Magazine just did one with her and him, We went up like 2 days ago, and I didn't mention it because
yeah?
I didn't want Bespin writing an article that we had to read about on the show.
Oh,
so
come
we can do
on,
that later.
man.
No, we can do that later in the week. I wanted to get here first, right?
All
2
right,
days from now, we're gonna be reading that fucking article. So, but she got into during Temple of Doom the crocodile sequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they spin over and roll over and they chew up the thuggy guys, and they're like, yeah, that was a pickup. We had to shoot it in Florida. She's like, I don't know. Like, I told the alligator guys we have to get them to roll around. And he's like, well, I can give you two options. One, we get some dogs. And she's like, no. Yeah. Florida guy wanted to toss some dogs, and she's like, no, we're not killing dogs. And he goes, oh, well, you can get some chicken, some raw chicken. And you're like, yeah, why don't we get the raw chicken? You know, like
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit a producer's really doing, finding ways to get shots and stuff like that. But these game companies, the actual production studios, CEOs and producers and directors are the ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, the fucking guys that are just trying to find a way to get a short off GameStop, stock buybacks and bullshit like that.
Of course. Yeah. And NPC Battles Epic Battles thinks Zaslav isn't bad. It's like every time Zaslav does something a little half like way, people go, "Whoa, maybe he's not dumb." Wow, when you could only read 6,000 posts a day on whatever it is on Twitter, maybe Elon Musk isn't dumb. No, they're all stupid. They're all fucking stupid.
Let me tell you something he's done right now that
stupid.
I already disagree with. That I'm like, this is stupid.
Blue Beetle
Space
being
Ghost
theatrical
Coast
is
to
fine.
Coast was on Space Ghost Coast to Coast was on HBO Max since day one, and they took it off because they don't want to pay some like $100 residuals.
Yeah.
Like that's like when Musk goes, "Oh, we'll just sell a shitload of cheap ads to make back my $40 billion." You're never making back your $40 billion on a bunch of shitty ads. It's not how this works.
In 1,000 years, you will. Yeah.
You're just going to drive away the people who don't want to be there. Then what views are it's not the way it works.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, yeah, like I always bitch about Zaslav to Bespin, and he's like, well, he was the one who put Evil Dead in the theater, and it was highly profitable. And I keep telling him, I said, yeah, when Blue Beetle comes out and that shit tanks, it's going to be just random, isn't it? At that point,
you know what I'm rooting for?
What happens?
I'm rooting for Turtles.
I'm rooting for Turtles too. No, I think Turtles is going to be good, actually.
You looking forward to Turtles?
I'm rooting for all of them. As a you're going to see Turtles?
No.
What? Michael Bay did one. I'm kidding.
Watch out.
Star Wars Santa says Disney, Little Mermaid, DC's Flash, Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones, DreamWorks Kraken. A lot of the major studio projects are bleeding money this year. And what my take is, just based off of every field or whatever you want to call it, like bubbles burst. And when they were in 2019 and they were releasing dog turds to $1 billion,
that Aladdin movie was dog turd.
That was a dog turd. That was a golden dog turd for Disney. And so at the end of the day, I think all that happened was we had a bubble and the pandemic exacerbated it bursting a lot quicker than if we had written it out like naturally. And so we didn't see a tapering off. We just sort of saw a reset. And yeah, you can mention Top Gun. You can mention Spider-Man No Way Home. Those were unique cultural moments.
Here's the difference, though.
In
no,
film,
but here's the difference,
we waited for those forever.
Money-wise. Here's the difference, though, between Spider-Verse, Top Gun 2, and these films.
Mm-hmm.
Those two movies, their primary audience are probably single males, right? Over the most of the part, who have disposable income that can go 4 or 5 times. These other movies are hinging on you taking a family of 3 or 4 to go see it multiple times. Yeah. And I just think financially, it's not doable now to go see a movie 3 or 4 times, unless it's like Dollar Day on a Tuesday or some shit, with your kids. Like, you're looking at these, like, which one do I gotta see the mermaid and the Kraken? And
Rob, I saw Indiana Jones 3 times, but I only took Penny once. Don't tell her. Oh shit, she heard. She heard me.
Why?
She heard me.
He puts her down with Fortnite and disappears for 2.5 hours. Never even noticed you were gone, right, Jason?
I'm like, Daddy's going to get a pack of smokes, Penny. but I come back.
Did you put on your hat and coat and put on the music when like you're sneaking out the window? Dun, 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 you gotta like whip and swing across the alleyway to your car, right?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 right.
Yeah. But
so like the 4-quadrant film, the idea that you're gonna make a thing for everyone is not probably the answer. I think you're gonna have to make things that are highly more specialized toward the audience you want that are gonna get them to come back. And this something for everyone was something that worked before the pandemic, and I don't know how well that works anymore. Like, you need to get the zealots to come back a million times, not just to casually see something. Like, some may break through, man, and if anyone had the fucking answer, they'd be in charge of Hollywood right now. But no one really has.
No one does. And that's the other thing about just basic issue with capitalism. I'm not a huge fan of the history of Henry Ford. I'll be honest with you. But in this current climate, Fordism, where you at least pay everybody so that they have enough money to buy a Ford, is an important part of keeping everything really of the show going. And when I mean that, I like literally mean the show. And the show's the first thing to fall off when you can't afford food.
I read a statistic.
I
read a statistic today that said Pepsi, increased prices enough to make $9 billion more in profit this year than last year. And it's like at some point that people know they're getting fleeced, and then they just turn on you.
Mm-hmm.
They just turn on you.
We've
seen this before.
In my world, a CEO, it would be illegal for a CEO to make more than quadruple of the highest paid employee. You know what I mean?
Right.
Basic salary, I should say. Seth says the anti-KK crowd doesn't like Spider-Verse either. Exactly. That crowd are a bunch of they're a bunch of neo-Nazi fucking. No. I'm not saying
I have friends that hate Kathleen Kennedy and love Spider-Verse.
Rob, you don't know what he's talking about. He's not talking about.
I know what you mean. You're talking
about.
He's talking
about Doomcock. He's talking about fucking the Comicsgate guys. He's talking about all of the people who make Spider-Verse movies and Spider-Verse videos and Kathleen Kennedy videos.
But that's not a monolith.
They don't but it is real and it is a thing. And these guys do go make neo-Nazi videos at the same time. Not all of them. I'm not saying every one of you little Comicsgate guys. I'm not a neo-Nazi. No, you're not. You're not. You're that one. You're not. But some of your fucking friends are.
They're an old school Nazi, not a new school Nazi, Jason. Get it right.
They're just such fucking pussies. At
the
end of the day, they're mad about a brown kid being Spider-Man and Indiana Jones being next to a woman when he was next to a woman in every fucking Indiana Jones movie ever.
I saw a review the other day and I was gonna show it you, and it was just like a thread. And it was just like saying, "Oh, it's not like it wasn't as scathing as I thought it was from like this sort of like person." Because a lot of the like people were saying, "Oh, this isn't too harsh." One of the points why I didn't like it, he was complaining about Phoebe's birthmark, saying it's too distracting. Like why didn't they cover it up? It was like complaining. I
think it's
like,
kind of cute. I didn't even notice the ad for a long time.
I was like. I wonder if they've ever said this about anyone else.
Yeah.
Any man. No.
Well, I was going to say, maybe.
Yeah, I'll tell you who they said it about. No. I want to finish this. I will tell you.
He's got a scar on his face.
No.
Indiana Jones fucking has a scar on his face.
I'll tell you who they said it about. They said it about George Lucas. That's who they said it about. No, George Lucas should not be.
No,
yes.
Phoebe's birthmark. He has a scar. The hero has a scar on his face.
Yeah, from the whip.
They should cover that wasn't how it originally was. They should cover it up.
He whipped himself.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's fucking nuts.
He said it was so distracting. He says, don't have a main character with something like that. They should have covered it up. I was like, I've literally never, like, how much other stuff has she done? And people never complain about it. But as soon as they're watching Indiana Jones, it's a bad thing.
I mean, Indiana Jones's old wrinkly ass scarred up face is okay though. That's cool, man.
Well, this is the level, like the going
but
down.
She's also fucking hot. That's the fucking.
No, there was a joke in the '90s about someone's mole moving around their face in a movie. What movie was that? Remember?
Yeah, it would go from here to here. Yeah, I remember that.
This is nothing. See, as a true, you stick around long enough, you realize it's the same stupid shit.
No. That's because that joke was linked to what was her name? Cindy Crawford had a mole,
Right.
and all of the girls wanted it, and they were emulating it.
Yeah, now they want it. They don't want moles
on.
now. They wanted moles then,
but
not now.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That drives me. That just is fucking so weird to be like, oh, she got a birthmark, and then his scar is like somehow that's cool. Scars are cool. It's weird. I don't know. It blows my fucking mind though. But
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
No. But this brings us to the fucking crossover point to like Rob's friends here. Rob's friends could not like Kathleen Kennedy and not be neo-Nazi sympathizers who are mad that a brown boy is Spider-Man. But those guys, that is a thing, and it does.
They
get
think I'm a Kathleen Kennedy simp, though. You figure that one out.
Well, then fuck them.
But I know. Hey, man, I have friends that my friends don't like me. The show doesn't like me. My wife really likes when I stay in my room. My dog is busy. I don't know, Jason. It's not good to be me.
This is a punk rock Star Wars show. We don't give a fuck about anything. We fuck everybody. That's what I say.
Yeah.
But
Tyrant hates me.
Oh yeah,
and his name is Tyrant. You figure
when the Tyrants hate you, they know you're fucking up, Rob.
Well,
but that's the comedy of it. Well, number one is those guys though. They don't want movies to succeed because if movies do succeed, they can't use it as a platform to then act like the culture war that they are proliferating is somehow making movies fail. Because
they just lie about everything. Whether it be good or bad, they lie.
They just make it up. Or not. Yeah, they're just fucking grifters. And it's actually in a way good that they're not smart enough to know that if they actually critique the films on the actual flaws for their racist, sexist, ignoble intentions, they would probably be more successful at it. Is the comedy of it, because it'd be like, well, it's kind of hard. You're right. But they don't do that. They just make stuff up like, oh yeah, she replaces Indiana Jones. No, that's your fear of being replaced that you're now putting on a movie that you haven't seen that hasn't come out yet. And when you see the film, actually, I would say that's actually a problem with the movie is that they don't even. I think maybe because of that, they don't give Phoebe like what's her deal now. She went to get ice cream. That's a fair fucking critique of the film. That's what Phoebe did next, or that's where she's going. That's the atonement with Indy or whatever, And I mean,
it's a weird ending, man.
I mean, where it works is she says that she'll be back or whatever, like later or something like that. To
honestly, one of the worst places I've noticed is the YouTube comments on any Star Wars video.
Yeah.
So they
especially
posted
ours.
Ours are pretty good. They just call you dumb.
Yeah,
I'm like, get them.
Every time they upload a video to the Star Wars channel, like all the comments are just like hashtag fire Kathleen Kennedy or like bring back Gina Carano and stuff like that, right? And the uploaded video is like a Indiana
hashtag
Jones.
Get Gina Carano acting lessons.
I thought she was in that Hunter Biden movie that made $1 billion.
Oh yeah, no, she got him, dude. She got him good. I'm looking forward to her doing the movie where Hunter Biden goes to jail, because fucking put him in jail too. Fuck them all. I hate everybody.
So like I clicked on the video because I was just like, okay, I'll watch it, and like people were complaining that it was an indie video on the Star Wars channel, and I'm like, well, they're not gonna put it on an Indiana Jones channel. Because it's like the one video they'll make about Indiana Jones in the last like decade, right? So, but all the comments were just like complaining about the film, saying they're not going to see it because of wokeism or something like that. Then it's hashtag. I'm like, if I was Lucasfilm, I would like actually block these. But then obviously that would cause a storm like, oh, they're blocking critics. But they're not blocking critics. They're literally just blocking like mentally ill people or bots, just they're ruining the comment section for people.
Culture warriors.
Because the thing is, it'll be like
Bill O'Reilly's culture warriors.
I saw someone say they liked the film, and he got like 3 replies saying, "That's not true. You're lying. Why are you defending Kathleen?" Right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's people that go to this every Star Wars video, click on it, enjoy it, and comment something they like it. For example, like there was an Ahsoka one. They commented, "Oh, I can't wait." And like they just get comments from people complaining at them saying, "Why? Oh, you're just a consumer. You just like everything." And it's like it's tough. Personally, I've decided I'm just these days on my channel on Twitter, just block everyone.
Movie sheeple. That's what they are.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all
I just block everyone because it's like, who cares? Like they don't deserve to like be on my platform. I control my platform, and it's like there was just one like I remember a video I put out the other day, and someone wrote an entire essay like complaining because I liked something, and it was like, oh, you like everything, blah blah blah. So I just blocked it. So like they wasted however long doing that. I blocked them. But I feel like Lucasfilm should do that with the official Star Wars channel. But they haven't for so long now. But it's crazy. Every video is like more dislikes than likes, unless it's a trailer.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's genuinely just people that have no interest in Star Wars anymore, supposedly.
Yeah.
And
What it is like they used to be able to be bullies at school or in places, and now bullying is kind of being heavily policed, and now it just becomes like a Twitter, a talk back commenter kind of way of expressing that same rage or whatever they have in them. That's my theory anyways. It's lame. It's lame because the thing about it is Indiana Jones, you guys saw my review. I was as harsh as I was loving on it. I gave it like a 7.5 out of 10 and don't believe a 10 is possible. And
you gave it a 5.
You're mean. But no, but it's like, yeah, but what I'm saying is like, they're actually like that kind of shit doesn't actually help us here. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help them hear what we need in our movies. All it really does is, and then it allows legitimate criticism to fall wayside. There is legitimate criticism for all movies.
For everything. Nothing's perfect.
Spider-Verse has legitimate criticism, but it's not being talked about because the brown kid argument that those people are being replaced is no, but that's all you hear about. That's all you hear about, Rob. That's all I hear about. That's all I see. I mean, it's my experience, but my experience is I haven't seen really thoughtful, legitimate criticism of it. All I've seen is people fighting about the fact, and they won't call him Spider-Man. They call him Miles Morales. That's all they'll say. That's like almost code for N-word essentially when they do their little game. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so fucking boring. It's just like, fuck. You just make things not fun. You guys aren't.
I feel like I waste time on the internet. Like obviously I've grown up with it, but like these guys are wasting way more time. It makes me feel a lot better about myself. Just like complaining and arguing over, the film that they haven't gone to see, that they've just heard stuff about. It's like it's crazy. And like typically a lot from what I've found anyway, at least like when it comes to Star Wars, like it's grown men. Like, do you have a job or something else to do?
Right.
Hey, can we get the campaign hashtag make Raiden white again? Right?
Oh,
remember when Raiden was a white Scottish dude? What?
No.
You don't remember that?
Dave says that Indiana Jones was relatively small even in 2008. I disagree with you, Dave, because the movie made $1 billion when adjusted for inflation. That's not a small movie. And if you don't adjust it for inflation, it made about $800 million. Which is also not a small audience, not a small
especially at
film.
that time. Like there was very few films that hit $1 billion.
Yeah, and like you could take the perspective of Crystal Skull was such a bad movie, nobody ever saw it again. Enough said. But that's not the way this works, because you keep seeing Batman, you keep seeing Star Wars, you keep seeing Marvel films, and there's been Marvel films, Star Wars films, and all movies that are worse than that movie. It's not how it works.
This one, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Meg says, my mom's reaction to hearing there's a new Indy film out was, I wonder who they got to replace Harrison. She was shocked when she found out it was still him. It's an 80-year-old dude. Yeah. He's either going to lead a new crew or he's basically just going to find a way to not get injured. Like he couldn't even swing on the rope, And I know I was talking to someone who was like, well, he didn't move right to me in the movie. I'm like, he had a stunt double in every other film. Half of Temple of Doom isn't even Harrison Ford. So that isn't it. Look, at the end of the day, if the CGI really was groundbreaking and the film really was fucking fun, that's all people would be talking about.
Yeah.
But it's sort of it is what it is. You know, word of mouth is the thing that is driving people to go see things more than anything else. Is this worth seeing? Is this worth seeing? Not the internet's word of mouth, right? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about personal connections.
Stupid
People,
review scores, like an irrelevant review score. Oh,
Right.
90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, who?
It's
who
not mean.
cares?
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean
Exactly.
anything. Is your friends? You should go see. Oh, I should go see. You should watch. I should go. Okay, I'll go. That's what they're. That's what's really. I've just noticed, man. That's what's driving people to go see shit. And if it's like, you know, I can wait, then they'll wait. Before, back when we were kids, we didn't want to wait a year and a half for video. But now it's like, I can wait 6 months. You know, especially when people were living in their houses for like a year or two. They're like, I think I'll wait a year or two. I can wait to see that. And that's a problem for movie studios. Unless you got a reason to go see it, people are like, I can wait. So that's something else.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing is, it's interesting that Indy wasn't able to get through to Meg's mom. That is actually interesting, in a way. But for at least for the UK, right? For that area, for Europe,
right?
But out here, like it's everywhere. It's on every bus. It's on every billboard. It's like I cannot not see Indy stuff. I have to not. I was taking pictures of stuff, and I eventually was like, I got to stop because it's kind of everywhere. So I know they spent the money, at least in the States, at least domestically, and it didn't connect. It didn't do anything.
I spent the day in my city on Saturday with my friends, and I didn't see any, like, to be honest, there's not like billboards like, you know, there is in America, but like I didn't see any advertisement on the way there. Like there was some like you know, billboards, but there was nothing for Indy. But I did look at like the screenings because there's a big cinema there, and there's like several screens, and basically all but like the front row and the side seats were full, like throughout the day into the evening. Over the week from Friday, like Friday night till Sunday night. I haven't obviously checked this week, but like it definitely seems like, you know, for the weekend, yeah, it's done well. I mean, when I went and watched it, it was on a Wednesday, and there was like 20 people out of like 100, but like it was 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. It came out on like a weird day, I suppose. But then this weekend, I can imagine like families will have gone and seen it. I'm probably going to go see it on my birthday because I've got nothing else to do. So I'm just going to go. I tried to convince my friends to go.
That wasn't a good endorsement of the film, just so you know. That sounded like a
I'm getting older. Indy's getting older. Let's do it. You know what? Right?
I'm having an existential crisis. Let's just go face it.
As it's true, when you go there and you're getting older, just remember the lyrics to the Indiana Jones theme. Did you know them? He's an old guy, it's his film. He's an old guy now. He's an old guy, so are you.
You're an old guy,
It's time to watch the old guy show. Right? It's like,
yeah, so it makes sense. If you live in London, there are posters everywhere. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's weird. Like, yeah, they paid for it. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't design that herself. Granted, I'm sure she has a big hand
she does on Midjourney
and saying what they can do. No, they actually hired real artists to do these things. A lot of there's actually like a couple of really good artists too. They did hire. I've been retweeting them their art and stuff lately. They've been posting it on Twitter. But if you live in London, the posters are everywhere. So it's like, Kathleen Kennedy had two choices realistically on the Indiana Jones issue.
Kill a dog.
No, that's a different one on Indiana Jones 5.
Sorry. The other Indiana Jones.
It was fire everybody and everything, get completely new people, start from scratch, either with Indy continuing on or just doing a new Indy like it was James Bond. However, it's either in continuity or it's not. It doesn't matter. No, but let me say the option. Or her option was stick with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, what they were starting. Take a director like James Mangold to pick up for Spielberg, who wouldn't do it anymore. Use Harrison Ford, who they were going to have to pay on both movies. When you really get down to it, out of the two most realistic options she had, she picked the one every single person would have said was the right answer. Nobody would have said the only right answer is still paying Harrison Ford, not using him in the movie, firing everybody and starting completely from scratch. No John Williams, no Harrison Ford, no Spielberg, no Lucas at all. even though I will say the Lucas thing I think is greatly exaggerated, but no Karen Allen, nothing. And at the end of the day, would that have been a more profitable movie? No, it still probably would have bombed. Adventure movies aren't doing great right now. I think we could see across the board, adventure movies aren't doing stellar. And so, but nobody can know the future. So I think she made the right call. Still. No?
Indy knows the future. He has the dial of destiny. He can go to fissure in time and space. Julian reacts. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. You say Doug Chang or John Knoll should run Lucas. They're not CEOs. They're artists.
He means Lucas himself. Lucas the man.
Oh, they should run.
Like get him on a leash. Like take him
Jason,
out.
Look, Jason.
John's
had his hand up my ass for 30 years.
Oh man, you got him, dude.
Yeah. I love John.
George, bring him back. Bring him back, George. Nullified.
Yeah.
You created that.
If you don't think I hadn't made that joke.
No, you did. That's why
you should have been there.
Nullified. All right.
Yeah. What I find interesting is that like games coming out this year have done so well, across the board. Even Dead Island 2, which was meant to come out in like 2014, has been through 3 studios, rebooted a couple of times. Like that has sold pretty damn well for what it is. It's like a 7 out of 10. But like back a couple of years ago, that would have considered like really bad. But like for a game that's gone through so much, like it's just a fine game. Like people are buying it. Like millions of copies sold. Jedi Survivor. Like I think people don't. Some people forget like Lucasfilm helped make Fallen Order and Survivor, right? Like those of highly successful products. It's not just the films that they've made that are considered failures, right? Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, specifically Fallen Order, because we've seen it over the last couple of years, has done amazing. Like Lucasfilm have got a win there. Like Kathleen signed off on it, probably to some extent.
At the end of the day,
like,
you're right.
Just because it's a game, but more people have played Fallen Order than watched some of the other Star Wars stuff they've put out. So I think there's a lot of people that sort of like, because obviously it's EA publishing it and making it, but I saw people complaining about Jedi Survivor, right? And I'm like, the story group works this in and connected it to all the other Star Wars projects. The people that wrote Fallen Order were 3 Clone Wars writers. Like people were saying like, oh, the games are good because it's not Disney making. I'm like, no, Fallen Order was written by 3 Disney writers.
Yeah. This
one was Survivor was wrote by 3 game writers that haven't had really good track record, like their games that have come out, but they gave us a good game. So, the games have been pretty good. They've been successful. It's looking like we're going to get way more games. Like, it seems like the thing that's winning for Star Wars at the moment is the games.
Yeah. And that is money for the IP or whatever you want to call it. I had a couple of messages from people saying, "Hey, I'm driving for the 4th of July. Can you make sure you do all the news for me?" I was like, "No problem." So Rob, if you're cool to like hang out for a bit longer, there's like 3 articles on Bespin Bulletin that we haven't got to, and that I want to cover. So just letting you know, if you can, if you can't, it's cool.
30 minutes tops.
I don't know. I'm
30
bad.
Minutes.
I always
bail
think
in 30.
Okay, I always think our short shows are going to be short and they're long, and then our long shows we get through. So I never know. I'm not.
I'm gonna have to limit to 60 here, starting.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
whatever. Yeah, whatever you need.
So you know, starting Wednesday, I have to.
Yeah.
Star Wars Meg asks for Rob Filoni.
Rob Filoni.
How you want to read this, Jason? I gotta go dig Filoni out. He's in hold on.
Yeah, for Rob Filoni, how much Ahsoka will we see in the future?
Oh my God, how much can I get her on screen?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. We gonna put her in the white bikini or we gonna put her in the pink bikini? I like her in the pink bikini, like Barbie.
No.
We're gonna do like Barbie.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna do like... No, I can't wait to see Barbie, Jace. You gonna see Barbie with me?
My daughter wants to see Barbie
Ken.
after the trailer was shown to her like 20 times over the summer. So I think I'm going to be seeing.
It's gonna make $100 million.
I love film, Filoni. I'm seeing all of it. I'm seeing I'm seeing. I'm not like Tom Cruise who buys a picture just to take a picture or buys a ticket just for a photo op. Not me.
Oh no,
I'm actually
no,
going to
not
use
you.
the tickets. I'm going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
You
And,
gonna hang on a
Indiana
plane
Jones.
and just fly in the air? I can't wait to see it.
I'm not going to do
No, you
that.
ain't gonna do that. Oh, okay.
Do you know how pissed Xeno?
I want to put her in a.
when
I
he
want to put her
dies?
in a wolf bikini, Jason. You know, like a
Oh,
space wolf, like a
little-
wolf bikini. Ooh, little wolf.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
You know what?
I gotta go watch
You know what you should do?
Oppenheimer. I
Go
can't watch
with-
to watch Oppenheimer.
You should go with John Knoll when he walks George Lucas in the park. You guys
Oh,
could-
we gonna do that? Yeah,
Yeah,
we do George walking. That's what we had. It's
you
a,
can have
hustle,
a little wolf.
It's a
pack.
hustle. It's a hustle. Wolf pack. How did you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Wolf pack. Wolf pack. Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He opens up a
Kill my
6-pack of Bud Light. He drinks Bud Light, and he opens it up and he goes, "Ooh, a 6-pack."
Y'all
Like a
know
wolf
we
pack.
drink
Ow!
Zima. Don't even start on that. We drink Zima, Jason. You just admit it. You like a Zima. You don't like a Zima. All right.
All right.
Who
well,
asked what Zima was? I think it was Spreezy. He was like, "What's a Zima?" Like,
Oh yeah, I brought it up, and then someone was like, "What are you talking about right now?" But
right.
Hey
man, look, I like Doug Chiang, and I think Doug Chiang was right about the casting of Anakin Skywalker. But a production designer, even
Doug
if
Chiang
the
never
vice
said anything
president of
bad
production
about it.
design, huh?
Doug Chiang never
He
said
was
anything bad about
he had
it.
that look. You seen the video? You seen the look? Where he's like, I don't know about this fucking kid.
That isn't what he's doing.
No. I
that
watched
is not.
Let's go get the video.
No.
Let's watch it now.
You can do it, and then you could contribute to Doug Chiang just doing this all the time. He was just super agreeable back then. Like,
He
okay,
did not agree.
Yeah,
he
he
did
agreed.
not. He
did.
liked the other kid. I'm with him.
What do you call it? Fucking now I lost the fucking comment. Okay, Julian. Sorry, where did it
But he
go?
was
Where's
also head of production design on Kenobi, and look how that show turned out. So Chiang, he ain't all full of winners.
No,
His
here's the
concept
whole.
art was way
no.
better than the actual thing.
The whole thing is it because somebody does something you like doesn't mean they know how to produce and run a studio and Star Wars.
But how hard is it? You just gotta like say yes or no, Jason. Anyone can do that, right?
Right.
I think the answer here, Jason, is AI should do it. They've been running Warner, but AI's been approving projects for 3 years now. Look where that's got them, right? Like,
well, no,
that's
no,
an actual
and,
article. I'm not even joking about that.
Well,
like,
no, okay. So, but Julian says, you don't think as vice president he is involved in management? Why even give him that title if so? Well, Julian, this isn't like capitalistic. Well, I say this is a capitalistic democracy. Do you know how many vice presidents in Lucasfilm there are? There's a lot. There's a couple, like 3, 4, 5, maybe. So yeah, I mean,
here's the thing, Jason. I started this. We can either give them more money or another title. What do you think I'm going to do?
Title.
What do you think I'm going to do?
Title.
Yeah. It's the Marvel method.
That's why Rick McCallum was the commandant of Star Wars. I think at the end. That's what you mean.
You don't get that. Yeah. So I mean, that haircut isn't buying itself. So.
The commandant of Utapau.
You say commandant, and I hear Commandant Lassar from Police Academy. That's how old I am.
Yeah, that's good. Is Rob AI? Maybe. All right. So
am I AI?
Star Wars.
Created
by the Church of Scientology, I think. Star Wars skeleton crew creator shares details on the series. Jude Law talks of his contradictory character.
People don't know this, but Jason's a Jehovah's Witness.
I am.
All of his friends are Jehovah's Witnesses, and he's a Jehovah's Witness, right?
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah,
You're shilling for the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Prince was a Jehovah's Witness.
You're Prince. Jehovah's wokeness. That's what Jason is.
I'm a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, you're like a liberal Jehovah's Witness.
On with Star Wars. We're a number of months.
Just talk shit about religions. We could do this all day, Jason.
We can.
Just fuck the whole channel up. I can. I love it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. We're a number of months away from the John Watson Christopher. This is from bestmanbulletin.org. We're a number of months away from John Watson Christopher Forks created live action series Skeleton Crew debuting on Disney Plus. But today on Entertainment Weekly, we released an interview conducted at Star Wars Celebration back in April, which one of the series creators, along with one of its stars, who shared new details on the upcoming series. And by the way, if you're wondering why does Bestman keep mentioning Star Wars Celebration back in April, because what you have is we have a ton of interviews that were taking place by various outlets at Star Wars Celebration back in April, and the stories are still coming out in July.
And Azatru's still in line, waiting to get into the hall with Kenobi.
Oh
Like,
no!
still in that line, huh, Azatru?
But when it
That was the one quick one. That was the one that was fine.
but
Oh,
remember, like this is before the strike. This is before all kinds of things happened. So when you hear some of the stuff, it's not pertinent. Now on this article, it is pertinent because Skeleton Crew already wrapped. So did Acolyte. And by the way,
Not cancelled.
I'm getting hit with that like heavily right now with like lots of weirdos. Just a little side note. Don't know, but great news is the Acolyte has been shelved and headlid pushed out of Lucasfilm. And you still get cocky about her blue stocking production company failing to pay their UK business tax since March. For the record, the business taxes aren't due when the production films; they're due at the end of the year. So you're dumb. I
thought these guys didn't like paying taxes. They should be rooting for her.
They never made it a full series. I know folks at the studio where it was shot. It was a sizzle reel. Keep on believing. And I'm just like,
a sizzle reel.
And then I'm like, I just wrote ha 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 ha, and then he writes back, keep on laughing. I just said you're in a cult. Because you are. But yeah,
I saw the footage of the Acolyte. My only gripe with it was that the thing is like supposed to be like a bad guy story, and it was a bunch of Jedis and Jedi kids in the trailer, which look, bad things may happen to those kids, but the trailer paints things in a more heroic light than the tone of the show that's being sold. So it's confusing to me. But then most of the fucking Lucasfilm marketing is confusing to me.
They haven't
or Disney marketing. How about that? I'll be fair. Disney marketing.
No, that's the thing that people don't understand is marketing hasn't touched the show yet.
I thought the prequel Nickelodeon shot looked cool. I'm just afraid when he talks. But I thought the look of that looked good.
They haven't promoted a fucking lick of Acolyte because Skeleton Crew is not even out. Ahsoka's not even out. It's fucking that far down the pipeline that there is no marketing. But that's why they're making up their lies now. Like today, it was just announced or it was revealed. Star Wars: The Acolyte director, the final block, episode 106, written by Leslie Headland and Jocelyn, and episode 8 was written by Jason Malikoff. So there we have 8 episodes written, and we have like a new director on it as well. You know what I mean? In that, and where did it go? I fucking lost it, you guys. But there was a director who did a bunch of stuff like the old Flash TV shows and stuff, a bunch of shit. It wasn't anything honestly too impressive. But point being is, they
might end up making the best episode out of them all. You just never know.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
And to be honest, man, directors on TV shows generally fall into a pack. They don't stand out. It's rare when one stands out. It's the showrunner that's guiding.
That's why somebody makes an episode of a TV show. You give them Star Wars Kenobi. You don't know what you're gonna get director wise, right?
Unless it's Rian Johnson and he stands out on Breaking Bad because he does some interesting shit with it.
Because Rian Johnson is a phenomenal director, whether people like him or not. Yeah, Hanel M.
Do you think Ryan might have been a better fit for Indiana Jones? Jason?
No, he wouldn't have been. No, he doesn't do he doesn't do masculine well. Hanel M. Culpepper directed 2 episodes of The Acolyte. Hanel Culpepper. Fun last name.
Culpepper. Yeah. That's something that sounds like a police academy character. Culpepper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, Mahoney and Culpepper. Yeah, I like it.
I don't think Rian Johnson writing Phoebe Waller-Bridge in that story would have actually went over well with people. But yeah. But I'm at the end of the day, I think Ryan could.
He can write adventure though. Looper is pretty adventurous. I mean, it's got some depressing shit in there, but you know.
Well, I mean, Knives Out proves he can write the tenets of a screwball comedy and then put it into an adventure setting. So I believe he could do it. He just wouldn't be. I don't think he would be the greatest choice for it. Like I know on paper, I would still pick Mangold at the end of the day. Just on paper, just based.
I think for me though, the second one, Glass Honey, I just wish that island was more like Mist. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, I don't
wish
think
the island was more of a character.
I think he should have never made a sequel to any of it. I think he should have just let Knives Out be a beautiful thing by itself, personally.
Right.
But it is what it is. So,
And I
anyways,
like Poker Face. Weird ending, but I like it.
yeah.
It didn't need to reboot itself at the end.
It didn't need to reboot itself at the end, and I think Poker Face as on in totality was a great show, but it needed that the plot that opens in the first episode to carry through all the episodes to some degree,
right?
Even if it was a B or C story, just that we cut to every now and then, more than we did. So, anyways, but so right now, Acolyte's not canceled because you haven't even seen the show, the 2 of the shows that come out before it. And we've known that the series was announced last year, led by, this is from Bestman Bulletin, last year, that John Watts and Christopher Ford wanted to create a Star Wars series in Skeleton Crew inspired by classic 80s Amblin movies such as The Goonies. The series focuses on a group of kids seeking adventures and take on one without their parents' knowledge. But unfortunately, I can't do the Star Wars Santa thing where I skip everything that is in the article. Can
we talk about Thrawn?
No.
Chapter 42? No,
I can't because then Beskid's going to get mad. But ultimately,
he's a compassionate conservative, Jason. We love those stories.
No, he's
a benevolent dictator. We need those more in our
He's
lives.
not compassionate at all. He wants to take everything. No, I'm kidding. With the series focusing primarily on the children's,
got me.
Quest to find their way back home. Series creator Christopher Ford shared that despite the series being led by a group of children, the series itself is intended for people of all ages, adding that the show isn't for kids. It's just got kids in it. Ford explained that, though. Why are you laughing?
Just despite it's got all them kids in it. It ain't for kids. It's for grown adults. Like
From 8
it's
to
got all
80.
them kids in it. I don't know, Jason. Just tickled me pink.
Ford explained that though they're aiming
it's
for
got all them kids in it.
Ford explained that though they're this guy's always like, hey, I got 20 minutes, man, and then he won't do it.
I know I'm wasting them. I'm not even responsible with it.
There's just something so Michael Jackson about this whole write-up. I don't know, man. Like I watched. Problem is, I watched the Prince Michael Jackson feud. Someone made a video on it.
Yeah, it's good, right? I love it.
And there was this one that I fucking fell out of my chair laughing, and it's a throwaway line. A guy was doing an interview, and he said that Prince showed up to Michael Jackson's house for dinner one time, and he brought a voodoo box, and Michael thought he was trying to curse him. And I'm like, I fucking want a 90-minute movie about that dinner, and where Prince is trying to fake curse Michael Jackson. He believes it. Like, I think Ryan Johnson should write that. Or get Key and Peele. I don't know, fucking who cares. It's brilliant.
Nirvana versus Guns N' Roses. I'm Team Nirvana. Prince versus Michael Jackson. Team Prince, always will be. Ford, but here's something about it. Ford explained that though they're aiming for a series with fun and adventure, the downside of that for their characters is that the adventure comes with danger, which heroes will most certainly face when lost in a galaxy far, far away. Now, people oftentimes are like, well, what power does Dave? This is me now. What power does Dave Filoni have at Lucasfilm? Well, I can tell you that in conversations I've had with Filoni here and there over the years, and with the ones that he's had in various interviews, he is of the mindset that when a child's film is scary, that's when it actually matters to a kid. That's when a kid actually feels danger. That's when they are having their heightened cinematic experience. So one good thing about Dave Filoni being in the position that he is in is I think that's what helps us get Skeleton Crew. It's what helps the approach to Skeleton Crew even happen. Because he knows that when you're a kid,
I like to see the whites of their eyes, Jason. That's how you know it's working.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how you know it's working. I learned that one from George.
No, when I was a kid, there was a remake of Alice in Wonderland in live action on maybe like ABC or NBC or something. And there's a scene where the kid after she goes down the rabbit hole ends up on the other side of the mirror. And she could see her mom, and she's like, "Mom!" And her mom,
right? I remember that movie.
It's fucking it's like traumatizing, but it worked, and it made that that whole thing worked for me because of how
that's what got Kurtz to make that Return to Oz movie, Jason.
Yeah,
look how well that went. It scared every living
Artex.
child of it. Yeah,
Artex dying. in
Yeah.
Never Ending Story is when that's when
Drown a
shit
horse.
gets
That's
when shit gets
That's how you
real.
make the money. Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy
Yeah.
should have done that with them gators,
Yeah.
right?
She should have drowned. Oh, well,
All right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but anyways, Ford explained that though they're aiming for a series of fun adventure, the downside for their characters that the adventure comes with danger. Okay. So here's the quote from Christopher Ford from bestmanbulletin.com. Skeleton Crew's tone is an adventure and a lot of fun, but with the adventure comes the downside of it, which is danger. And when the kids are in danger, it's extra fraught. So we play with that. But overall, we wanted it to be a fun adventure. Hopefully, it can be for all ages type of thing. We told Kathleen Kennedy that we wanted to go for that kind of Amblin tone, which she perfected. They never thought of those movies for kids. They just happened to be about kids. A story of a kid going on an adventure can be for anyone, and that's what Christopher Ford says. And
I like it where they get ET drunk, and then the kid gets drunk. Can they do that?
Yeah.
That could happen. Mando gets drunk. Does Grogu get drunk? Are they connected?
Check it out, dude.
Right?
Imagine
the dyad.
you're with you're a dyad with Mark Hamill, and he's out.
Dyad dad.
He's hanging out with Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni brings out a 6-pack of Bud Light again, and they crank it open, and then now you're buzzed while you're just trying to play Legend of Zelda. Yeah, that could happen.
One time, Mark Hamill drank a 6-pack of Zima. I fell off my chair drunk as shit, Jason.
By the way,
that's how. Huh?
Dave, I think it's time we tell you they don't make Zima anymore. We've just been giving you Sprite this whole time. It's
my God.
It's really embarrassing. Everybody's laughing at you.
They don't make it?
Yeah.
What have I been drinking? I don't know.
Sprite. It was just Sprite.
It's just,
yeah, we're just
it's like
pouring...
you tell someone it's a Shirley Temple and they pretend they get drunk and shit. Like little kids. Did you have that as a kid? Did they have, because they let kids drink over there when they're like 12.
But not in France.
But like when you're
no.
They're right next to France. So like literally you could swim the channel.
Ooh la la.
Could try at least. But do they have those like fake drinks that make little kids think are alcohol and then they drink it and pretend to be drunk? Is that clearly
I want to
American
say, yeah, I think so. Like, obviously, I didn't touch them, but like, at least when I was at school,
I like how he's covering his tracks now as a grown up.
It wasn't me. That guy who stole the wine from church that day, the sacrament wine, that wasn't me. That was somebody else.
All right.
Yeah, everything's just crazy over here in comparison. Like, yeah, people were getting drunk at like 10 and 12.
Really?
Like,
They eat beans for breakfast, Jason. You got to drink.
We
early,
don't.
You know?
No.
You do.
And Red Bull.
I have beans for tea. Like,
Wait. Beans for tea? What the fuck language are you speaking right now? I thought you were English. Beans for tea.
Even James Cameron's confused. You know,
like I've never heard burnt beans for tea.
It's a regional thing, but like
at
least where I'm from, it's breakfast, dinner, tea.
10 and 2, right?
Most of the UK will disagree, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Meg's table flipping her. Like, what are you doing?
As a true, my tea says it's Grimace's birthday.
Is this where Jason violently throws up?
The purple stuff. Yeah, that video was pretty funny. You sent me from it's like a TikTok of this lady and she drinks the purple thing and then turns into like fucking The Grudge or something from it. Anyways,
she's literally walking on the ceiling. It was a good effect.
Yeah, I know it was well done.
Yeah.
It was like a good little I don't know. It was a good TikTok. Though the series itself focuses on a group of kids going on an adventure, the biggest name attached to the series is that of Jude Law. The kids encounter Law's mysterious character on their journey. Yeah. What they teach each other from Star Wars Celebration, showing Law's character seemingly first meeting with the group when they were locked behind bars and using the Force to free them before joining them on their quest. I never even thought about that, Rob. That might be how Kennedy even knows him, huh? Was AI
Joe?
Yeah. As you'd expect,
she produced that, right?
Yeah. That's what I didn't thought about that. As you'd expect, Jude Law couldn't provide many details on his character, but did label him contradictory, and he mirrors the world in a way which the kids get lost in, adding that at times his character can be nurturing to the children and at other times threatening. And I was told he was their teacher, and that so I'm guessing he becomes their teacher. Either in the Force or in being a little scammer of some kind. there were characters that were in games that didn't make it out. Like in Ragtag, there was a character, if you watch my Ragtag video, who was going to be a Padawan. Then Order 66 happened, never became one or something. And then has access to the Force, but just uses it to get free dinners and to cheat at cards and stuff like that. And I'm thinking that Jude Law might be that archetype or that concept at play here. The Fuddruckers guy. So Jude Law goes on to say, I can't tell you very much about my character. He is someone the children meet on their journey on their way to get home. He, like the world they experience, is contradictory. At times, a place of nurture, and other times, a place of threat. What I love is because it's through their eyes, there's a kind of goofy relationship between the kids and the adults. And other times, it's really quite dark and scary, which I guess is what the world looks like to an awful lot of 11-year-olds. So this is starting to make me personally think that, he's not exactly a Jedi. He has access to the Force, but he's probably sort of more like DJ with Force power. DJ from Episode 8 with
no
Force powers.
Jedi means bad thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have a Jedi in to be good.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
Yeah,
which to me this is way more interesting than just a Jedi that.
But does he
survive? Like he's someone that isn't a Jedi. He's just got the Force.
Yeah.
But is he going to have a weird accent? And Tor is he going to do that with the weird accent? Come up with a weird accent.
No, he didn't have a weird accent. He had a normal accent, but he stuttered. Yeah. He stuttered. Remember? DJ, talking about DJ.
You should hear Macquarie talk about when Benicio invited him over to his house to go talk to him about Usual Suspects. And he's like, Bryan Singer told him never to talk to the actors, but he went anyway,
Yeah.
And then Benicio did the weird voice, like,
right.
That he does it, and he just sat there like, oh, we're fucked, And I mean, Benicio made it work, but he's like, he didn't tell anyone. So Benicio goes on set the next day and none of the actors knew. So their reactions when he starts speaking in the lineup is genuine. They're genuine.
Oh, really?
Fucking, and they're like, well, we can't understand. And they're like, yeah, but if you can't understand it, no one can understand. So you should all just react to that, like in that way.
Right.
Like, yeah.
All right. So the series takes place between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. And just, we all know this stuff right here. Christopher Ford says, quote, for us, it was a great era as much as the New Republic are trying to bring things back to peace. It's kind of a lawless, wild time. There's a lot of danger. If we had said it earlier, the kids might have just met the Empire and got shut down. This is more of the galaxy to get lost in. So this is where, when you're out there, like basically there's no one's regulating anything is kind of the point, I think. It goes on to say, Bespin goes on to write, one thing that was revealed during Star Wars Celebration back in April was that the talented list of directors attached to Skeleton Crew would include the series co-creator John Watts, Jake Schreier of Beef, David Lowery from The Green Knight, and Academy Award-winning director duo of The Daniels, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Christopher Ford spoke glowingly of the Academy Award winners, revealing that they brought fun to the set and were really able to run the production well for their episode. With Jude Law adding that each director was able to bring their own personality to the individual episodes, including the Daniels. So Christopher Ford says, quote, they were fun. They were really fun. There was a great dynamic on set. In the morning, they'd always do a special warm-up exercise, and they really know how to run a set well and make it fun. And then Jude Law says, the series was the right amount of elbow room, should we call it, maneuverability, maneuverability? I don't know what the fuck that word is. That each director coming up with their own perspective, and there's definitely is a kind of flavor of the Daniels, as there are everyone else. Is this really like a fucking word? Look up.
He's your buddy. See, this is what happens when you play Fortnite all the time.
So
you lose your ability to type.
So it is maneuverability. It's like spelled incorrectly. It's all that it is. Okay.
It's spelled Britishy.
Is it that British?
Yeah.
Is that how you guys
think
spell
it is? I think yeah.
Okay.
I think it is.
Okay, got it.
So I think I'm joking, Jason, but
I've never noticed that one was spelled differently somewhere else. Skeleton Crew does not have a confirmed release date, is the point. And we think that one will come out at the end of the year. And they were saying it would come out at the end of the year. But I am of the mindset that if the strike lasts too long, they may end up pushing that one and just giving a little bit more padding to everything, Eye
of the mind makes the movie.
That's true. But yeah, so once again, Skeleton Crew, I'd say most likely I'm thinking after Christmas. Either way you cut it. Just a guess. But I'm thinking it's going to be like how was it Boba Fett that came out after Christmas? And that
it was this. Yeah, it was this like end of January, I think.
Yeah, and that did well for them, in terms of it wasn't hurt by when it came out at all. So I would think it goes that way for that guy. And
do we have any indication when Bad Batch is coming?
We don't.
Okay.
Well, at least I don't remember.
When Bad Batch is good, damn, and ready, as it true. Fucking started with Bad Batch. It's the Bad Batch. It does things when it wants to do.
Rob, I want to thank you for telling Attitude what we were all thinking. James Mangold shares new details on the Star Wars movie. Unlikely to use Jedi term. Interested in speaking with George Lucas. And look at George. He's like, you want to talk? James Mangold,
it's always
the writer,
Rothman. It's always a Rothman, Jason. Look at this one. Right?
What?
Quentin Rothman. Anyone know why Rob likes Tom Cruise so much? I like the Mission Impossible movies. I like the way they've gotten better. I like Christopher. I like the whole crew. Why the fuck do you people out there like Zack Snyder so much? You tell me. What's he ever done for you? I don't know Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise ain't done shit for me. I know that much.
Yeah. No.
So
he's a Mangold guy.
James Mangold, the writer of an upcoming untitled Star Wars movie set tens of thousands of years before Star Wars: Phantom Menace, which is to see the discovery of the Force and first ever Jedi, is currently on the promotional circuit for his latest effort.
Jason.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and during the run of the topic of this exciting new Star Wars movie has arose. Before we continue, you could support Bespin on Patreon or give him a coffee. The Logan director has today featured on the popular podcast Happy, Sad, Confused, hosted by Josh Horowitz. The bulk of the interview naturally revolves around Indiana Jones. But Mangold discussed the upcoming Swamp Thing movie for DC Studios, his scrapped Boba Fett film, which you can read about here on BestBulletin.com.
Interview, by the way.
And of course, his upcoming Dawn of the Jedi Star Wars project. Mangold was asked about what appealed to him, having a movie set so far away from the various Star Wars trilogies and series. And with the director explaining that the idea of having so much space is appealing to him, and that having such distance from the various canon Star Wars series and films allows him to tell a story where he doesn't feel constrained. He says, when I talk to the Star Wars clerics that keep track of all those timelines, I was like, so when would this have happened? And they said 25,000 years before episode 1. I was like, oh, I was looking for distance, and that's distance. I'll do it. I might find Charlton Heston in an abandoned subway station with some vapes, but I'll do it. But the reality for me was that feeling of space, pun not intended, but apropos, I hate that word, was something that I felt apropos was a poo-poos. That's Filoni. A poo-poos was something that I felt really important. Not to get away from fan service.
I took an poo-poos.
Was it purple? Was it purple?
How you know?
Yeah.
You looking at my poo-poos, Bob?
Not to get away from the fan service or the intricacies of what George Lucas had set up and dreamed of, but just to have the space to tell a story and not be instantly encumbered with the bases that you have to tell or that you have to it. Honestly, there's no other way to explain it to folks other than to say it's like that game we played as kids, Twister. At a certain point, you're in a tangle because you're just kind of trying to get a way to tell a story with so many constraints that you can't, says James Mangold. So as the conversation
Did you ever play Twister, as it true? Do you remember that game?
Once.
Right? Did you ever get tangled up? Like,
He's looking. I don't know.
No? Okay.
No, he was like, you know what's better than Twister? Fallen Order. And he walked away. As the conversation progressed in regards,
you got me there.
He's all, you know what's better than Twister? Battlefront 2. And he walked away. All right. As the conversation progressed in regards to his upcoming Star Wars movie being set so far before The Phantom Menace and the film being focusing on the origins of the Force and the first Jedi, the podcast host asked if Mangold had or would be looking to have conversations with creator George Lucas, given Lucas's existing lore in regards to the Force and Jedi. Mangold revealed that he has not spoken with Lucas at this time and likely wouldn't for quite a while due to the ongoing Writers Guild of America strike. But added that before presenting the Star Wars creator with this idea and treatment, he wants to protect himself and make sure that he's developed the project enough before bringing it to Lucas.
But Lucas just bought Star Wars, so wouldn't they speak about it?
Rob, I got to tell you something, man. That might not be true. That story might be made up. I'm thinking.
What?
I'm thinking it might be not true.
No.
So he goes on to say,
duped again.
I have not had a chance at all to talk with George Lucas with what I'm thinking on this Star Wars movie. He was involved and read the script for Indiana Jones and was a Ford versus Ferrari fan, I'm told. I am, but I would be very interesting to talk to him. I mean, I'm a little protective of myself, even in the sense of meeting Bob Dylan in relation to the Bob Dylan film, A Complete Unknown. I like to have myself together before I get into those kind of situations. Every good idea skates on the edge of being precipitously awful, and every safe idea never gets towards that edge. So the trick is always to develop your idea enough so that your compatriots, consultants, and mentors can understand how you're avoiding going over the edge and not just daring it. Obviously, as a writer, I am on strike right now. So those solutions in that process is not going to happen right now. So at Star Wars Celebration,
His ass.
Yeah,
for
he is.
Gilroy, you know, he's like, don't come after me.
Right. So on the Happy Sad Confused podcast host asked if we'd hear the words Jedi, Force, or midi-chlorians mentioned in the film. The Dial of Destiny sort of the Dial of Destiny sort of, I guess it means director, sort of shut down the idea of those long terms being used, pointing out that branding will likely come later, but that the audience would experience something that would become known as Jedi. Quote, I don't want to make any guarantees one way or the other, but it would be done before Jedi, meaning you might be experiencing something that might become Jedi. Despite people making movies in other ways, I don't tend to think people brand themselves before they've actually found themselves. You don't come up with the name of your organization before let's put a big thing on our chest. I think branding happens later. James Mangold's Star Wars movie currently doesn't have a release date, but is expected to release in December 2027. Mangold's next effort, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, releases in cinemas tomorrow, June 30th, which is out now.
Tomorrow?
So here's the thing. I've had some actually like nice and respectful, if not even fun, conversations with people on Twitter in the last couple of days after this interview. And my take on this is, or a take, is that this is going to lead to the demystification of the Force. But the thing about it is, if Mangold follows anything that has ever been established, though, at all, which I believe he will, the Force intrinsically is intertwined with everything. It's just that these people didn't tap into it. So even if Mangold says it's the first person, it doesn't mean it's the first person. It just means they think they're the first people. Just like if there is a God and you've talked to him, or there are aliens and you've talked to them, or whatever, you're the first person. You think you're the first person to do it, but you're not. You weren't. Or does Moses know what Adam did? Well, I guess maybe he did. I don't. You see what I'm saying, though. You see where I'm going with this. Point being is that so what you have here are the first people who learned how to commune, wield, however you want to look at it.
What if he just names the first dude Jed? You know?
My name is Jed.
Yeah,
I am Jed, therefore I am Jedi.
Yeah. And he speaks like Yoda. He's a Minch, you know. He's Jed instead of Jedi, right?
Well,
Jed.
No, I think he's more like
Slim
Pickens, but like a four. Do or do not. There is no try. Ha!
Man, he ain't no darn trying if you gonna use the Force. You know what I'm saying, man? Well, my name is Jed.
That's squeaky.
How y'all doing out there? First little old Jedi. Yeah, we gonna pitch this one in Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Like, but don't do well.
no, but that's the thing. Like I've thought about this movie a lot, and the concept of the time that Mangold seems to be throwing out there. And like, so if you think about it, like you end up kind of being able to borrow a lot from maybe because it's on my brain because I've been reading it, but like My Hero Academia. What do you have in this story? You have superheroes begin to be born through mutations like the X-Men all of a sudden. And then eventually you have villains and you have heroes, but they're not regulated. So then a regulatory body comes into place. And
Sounds
then
like some woke ass shit right there.
no, and then that's where you end up with a bunch of of friction and stuff like that. But yeah, if you think about it, like if you imagine you're just a fucking evil pirate and you tap into the Force, you're going to become a menace to the galaxy. And so why would the Jedi exist? Like we all like this idea, like, yeah, I just want Ahsoka to like walk around like solving space crimes by herself. Like that's cool,
Like Poker
right?
Face, but
Like,
without the woke.
Right. Like that. No, but like that concept isn't inherently fun. Like the Ronin concept is fun. I like it. Now, does it actually make sense in that big galaxy? No, you would actually need a Jedi Order to be like, no, Count Dooku, you can't decide that your politics are this way, and now you're going to use the Force and everything to control the galaxy and make it how you want. So he.
What
he
if
has
she's related to Barriss Offee?
Stop.
Like what?
Hammer time. No, but we end up we end up with a possibility here of something that could actually I think realistically that premise is the one with the most promise of terms of growth of various films and who do they say gets to be a Jedi and who do they not, or who can't be, and if you like Sith Lords and stuff like that, if nobody's stopping them, nobody knows a Sith Lord is bad. When I say Sith Lord, I just mean like an evil Force user. Then like at that point you just kind of end up with a lot of storytelling opportunities and about how they figure it out, and not having certain dogma and regulations in place allows for those story elements to happen freely. Like in his version of the story, this character might go and have like 4 kids and a wife and or whatever, depending on how it goes. But you see what I'm saying? But we know that inherently is a flawed concept for a superhero. It doesn't actually usually work out. You can't be a selfless Jedi monk if you have possessions and if you are possessive. So that leads down to these
Who are they
cycles
supposed to
of drama.
ship, Jason?
Right. No, exactly. But that's where this right here might allow them to make a really flawed Jedi character, a bunch of flawed Jedi characters, and then have it all go to shit all the time in ways that make sense and ways that make the other thing actually make sense too.
Do they get to kill kids?
Yes, they will have to kill kids.
Oh, what? Oh, I can't wait.
They will.
Right, as it true? That's our favorite Star Wars when we all killing all them kids.
No.
As it true's quiet. Like,
yeah. My
Yep.
generation. That's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They're all. That's when it's good, when Anakin's killing all them kids.
Yahoo!
That's why I love that Kitster song, and like that Kitster country song, and like Kitster's like, I've been stuck by you when you killed all them kids, and it's so
That's
good.
Right. Real friend.
James Mangold confirms that he's working on a Boba Fett movie. Did we cover this one? I don't remember if we did. But
yeah, when I told you he had been working on one, and you were like, "That never happened."
That's not what I said. I said Kathleen Kennedy said it didn't happen.
Never happened.
That's not what I said. I said it was. It said he never confirmed it, and even in those articles, he still wasn't confirming it. Like in the trades,
he confirmed.
The trades were saying it, but he wasn't quoting. He wasn't giving quotes. But James, writer and director of the coming Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Yeah, did we already cover this one? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think you covered like that happened, but then he explained like it was R-rated and stuff.
Right. So yeah, back in 2018, just days before the release of Solo Star Wars story, the Hollywood Reporter shared that the director of Logan, James Mangold, was set to direct a Boba Fett anthology film for Lucasfilm and Disney. It was co-writing the script alongside Simon Kinberg, X-Men Dark Phoenix. The film never came to be, but Mangold confirmed his involvement on the project last week with Variety and has now shared more details on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. Host of the podcast, Josh Horowitz, brought up the past rumors of Mangold previously working on a Star Wars film, with the host relaying rumors that the Logan director was more than dabbling with a Boba Fett film a number of years ago. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go to the quote. I'm running out of time here. Wait, where did it go? Wasn't there the, okay. At some point, I was doing it, and I was probably scaring the shit out of everyone. But I was probably making much more of a borderline rated R sort of spaghetti western, a single planet spaghetti western. Yeah, we did cover this one. That would never have been able to embrace Baby Yoda if they made that movie. if I
That's
didn't
right.
really belong in the world I was envisioning. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can read the full article at bestmanbulletin.com. But that's, I like what Mangold did with Indiana Jones. I mean, that's the one that's the movie that he done that matters to me the most now. And I like what he did with it. I didn't think he emulated Spielberg well enough, but I think that's because Mangold's is Mangold probably. And so to an extent, like I like respect that. And when it comes to a Star Wars, I don't really necessarily want filmmakers emulating. I don't want Mangold to come in and go, well, what would J.J. Abrams do? I want Mangold to come and bring his flavor of filmmaking to Star Wars, and do it his way. I mean, if I have anything though, I'd say there's a lot of action in that Indiana Jones movie, like a ton.
lot more. Yeah, it's pretty nonstop.
And a lot of it's really good, and some of it is just very much like to the motions, just like this is just action stuff happening. And whereas Spielberg, I think, is a little bit more like insane, so it can't exist unless it's like right, kind of like on that stuff. And so I hope Mangold gets that better when he does the Star Wars. I hope we don't have I hope he has the sequence driven moments a little bit more down, because like there's like a lot of motorcycles in that in like Indiana Jones, right? But you could probably count only like a few motorcycle moments that really were cool. It's like, why are you using motorcycles?
Yeah, it was quite busy. It was quite busy.
It's a little too busy at times. Yeah.
I don't usually mind when I like Transformers. But it felt like the Transformers films had moments where like they were actually like, aside from the moment on the boat, really, when they were speaking like after like the first like once they meet up and get going, like it's pretty nonstop. Like I didn't mind that. I was like, I'm quite surprised by this. Like, but at the same time, it was a lot to take in on a first watch.
And you know what we never got in the movie?
What?
We never got. Remember in the trailer, there was like Phoebe is there and Harrison's there, and like these boulders come down, like two like Raiders of the Lost Ark style boulders in a contraption. Remember that in the trailers?
I feel like
I think it was in the D23 trailer. And it wasn't there. And I'm of the opinion now that it must have been an alternate Archimedes tomb contraption, and they must have changed it to be water displacement. Or we went from those boulders to water displacement, and they were like, the water displacement's enough. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I like the different stages of like the tomb and stuff. Like it felt because I was just like, I don't know. I felt like the actual production and stuff was way better than I thought. Like the scale of everything was really, really good. Because I was, the set photos we had of the Romans, it was just like a bunch of people in Roman armor. I was like, how are they gonna make this feel? I thought it was just gonna be like just a couple of them stood there and that like they happened to like be there for a few seconds. But like, ILM and whatnot, they did an amazing job. Like, it looked amazing. It was fantastic.
And another thing is like when Rob and I did our review of our Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, where we both agreed that if the movie that Indiana Jones in the opening, that we're not there yet on recreating old people into young people. We're not there yet.
Nope.
I asked my kids, I was like, hey guys, did you like the opening? And it's like, oh yeah. And I was like, what do you think of the effect? They're all like, you couldn't even tell. And I was like,
they should go be in charge of ILM.
Well,
right?
Apparently they are. Kids at heart. They're kids at heart, Rob.
I personally
I
enjoyed it. Like it didn't bother me. It wasn't. I think based on the stuff,
it didn't bother me. Right on the DVD box, as a truth.
No.
The shot that we saw when they take the bag off his head in the trailer, I was like, okay, that's like incredible. Yeah. And there was only maybe one shot which went a bit blurry for some reason in like towards the end of it that looked off. But like I was like, I knew it was not going to be perfect. Like it's 1980 Harrison Ford. Like it's not going to be real. But I'd rather the film have that half hour than not. in that way.
Every visual effects studio is going to be lining up to recreate this quality of digital de-aging. I guarantee you. Right?
Oh.
Right.
I would admit the Luke looks better. Luke definitely looks better.
Hawk says, "Oh yeah, they used to stick a pry it down in the ramp before they went through. That's totally not in the film. Yeah, it was.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, I've seen the movie a couple of times though, and like the very first time, I was just like, yeah, the de-aging's not really. It's not really there yet. I was expecting it to look better than it did, considering it was like a really expensive film. And I was like, this really isn't better than what they're doing on Star Wars television right now. And there's a lot more of it, obviously. So there is that component of it. I'm like, what does this mean for the Dave Filoni Star Wars film? Because that's something that we should be asking, because they're probably going to want to put Luke in it. That Mark Hamill's very fit right now, and maybe it's because
we gonna use puppets. We going back to Hamill puppets. We just gonna use puppets. I love puppets, and I can put my hand right on the Hamill puppets.
Can I get you a Sprite? I mean a Zima?
Oh, could you?
Yeah, good.
Oh, I drink LaCroix now. That's what I like.
Oh, LaCroix. LaCroix.
Little LaCroix. LaCroix. I speak like the French. LaCroix. I like to have a LaCroix and some In-N-Out animal style. Know what I'm saying? All right.
Yes, you do. Bye, Davey.
I thought the whole sequence was aside from if you didn't think the de-aging was very good, like everything else was fantastic. Like the quality of everything, the sets, and it was on a much bigger scale than I thought, because I saw the set photos, and the train stuff wasn't far from where I was, and it's just like I thought,
that's how you got COVID, because they were right outside your house doing that train stunt. And Aaron Ingruber, right, was just Hans Ingruber, as you like to call him, right, as she was just coughing in your window and shit, right? Like this guy. Yeah.
My son just texted me and scared the shit out of me. I just get this thing and it says, "I'm hurting." I'm like, what the fuck? And he's all, hungry. But
big difference.
But where I was going with that, Rob, was well, I watched it now a few times now, okay? And I watched it once where I was like, the very first time. The next time I watched it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let all of it go, and I'm just gonna watch this sequence. I'm gonna turn off my critical faculties on the CGI on this guy, and I'm just gonna watch the sequence as it plays. And if this was filmed back in 1990 and we just never saw it, now they're putting it in the movie, okay? Like that's how I like that was like, and I was like, yeah, it's still a little clunky for the opening of an indie film. It's still a little slow for the opening of an indie film, and it's about 30 minutes, and it should be about 22 minutes. And I feel like there are
not
certain
15.
No, it should have followed
pod race
the
was
convention.
15 minutes.
Indiana Jones doesn't open with a pod race.
Pod race was half the length of this sequence.
But Indiana Jones has never opened with a pod race. It opens up with
the opening sequence on. How long is the opening sequence on?
There's a format. There's a format here. They're about 20
It's not
minutes.
30 minutes. Temple of Doom's 90 minutes. It's like a third of the Temple of Doom.
They're about 20-minute openings. They're about 20-minute openings, like opening credit scenes, right? And that's what this should have been. This goes on for about 10 minutes too long at the end of the day. And the data that we get out of that extra time, I don't feel was like efficiently used. I don't feel like it was, you know what I mean? I think it was there because they were like, if this works, people are going to want more of it. So let's make sure that let's make the meal a little smaller, but let's make the appetizer really good, a little bit bigger. I think that's to win them over. And then hopefully I think they were thinking they would win us over, and then they would keep us throughout the rest of the film. So it
definitely felt like it was getting a bit long. Like even for me, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why I didn't look at the running time. I thought it was like a 2 hour 10 film.
It's also because in these sequences, one thing should blend or enhance the next, and then you think you made one step, but you're taking 2 steps back. It kind of restarts itself 3 different times. It's not building off it. It's a different. This sequence-driven stuff. The people who get it the most are generally these days animation writers. Like the animation people kind of get it more than screenwriters these days. It's just kind of a lost art.
Hawkwood says, do they know if Shamook is safe? Laugh out loud. Is he doing his work? I hope they feed him. I know he was part of ILM for a little while, and then he moved on to a different studio. So, but once again, not one person is responsible for the wins or the losses on any of these productions. That's the other side of it. If it was a good win, it would be. But
they're going to de-age Henry Cavill for Superman Legacy.
Well, the question, and where I was trying to go with this though, is I'm curious if the people who do grow up watching this Indiana Jones movie, if it's never weird for them. Like there's visual effects that are weird in movies that I know are weird, but they're not weird to me because they just have always been, And that's one of the things with the de-aging stuff is it works really great on children. Can't tell the difference, and we can. And
CGI babies in Flash have something to say about that. Oh, you mean children believe that? I thought you meant
children believe.
Kids.
Children
CGI kids are even creepier than. Yeah. Well, kids will buy anything, right, Jason? Right? They think
and like I said, the
Teletubbies.
Babies. No, what's weird is I like that. I love that sequence. In fact, in Flash when he's saving the babies, and it's so weird though because when you imagine the sequence with realistic looking babies, though, the fun goes away because that's now horrifying. It's weird. It's
almost feels like it should have been an animated.
It was
movie.
damned. Yeah. It should that almost only works in an animated film, like realistically. Because it's really which
is why I told you Indiana Jones should be animated. Remember when we got into that argument?
Oh, that's crazy.
And you said no, it should be a Disney Plus live action show. That'll go well.
No, we were talking about the Ravenwood show that they were talking about doing.
Yeah, I said just make Indiana Jones animated.
Yeah,
someone did a little 2-minute clip of that on their own. It looked pretty good to me. Go look it up.
Rob, anything could be cool animated, but you're making an either or argument here. Do I want to fit Indiana Jones?
Look creepy.
All right, Rob.
Wouldn't look weird for 30 minutes.
Rob, so then just watch Clone Wars, Rob. Those are Star Wars
I don't
movies.
like CGI 3D. I don't like that Thunderbird style of shit.
And
it's weird
looking. So now it has to be fucking hand painted with the blood of Warwick Davis, or
this has to look cool. You hire artists to make things look cool, or you let George Lucas tell you what looks cool, and it's 50-50 on that one. Sometimes you get Darth Maul. Sometimes you get a Gungan, you just can never tell.
I think the Gungans look cool. Which, by the way, I was going to bring up earlier, Benicio del Toro was offered the role of Darth Maul and turned it down. Fun fact. He said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll play DJ someday.
Yeah. I want to play it with the weird accent. And he's like, you don't talk. And he's like,
shit. He's all, at last they will have my revenge. Well, no, that's your line. That's your line. And he's like,
can I be a Gungan?
You mock me. You mock me.
No, your accent. He's like, hold on.
Okay, so
his accent was too offensive for a Gungan.
To be clear, Revenge Guy says, I want an animated indie series. Yeah, but do you want an indie series, or Rob is presenting a Sophie's choice of which baby do you want to die? Do you want the movie?
Oh, well, all of them.
Or do you want the series?
You just cut them all down.
Oh, is that the answer? Indiana Jones.
But you save at least a couple thousand for future movies, just in case. Right?
Yeah. Right. They're like butter, you can cut right through them.
You're the last 100. All
right, we did it, guys.
A couple of things before we go. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I feel like I didn't. They said the map of Star Wars Outlaws of Tashara is bigger than the Division's map already. So that's just one plan.
What does that mean?
That means it's better.
So their previous game, which was a bigger map, so it wasn't. It's not a huge map, but like the main planet of Outlaws is bigger already, and there's going to be more planets. Obviously, they said the reason why it's mainly bigger is because in the Division you don't have vehicles, whereas on Tashara you're going to be using your speeder to get around, and there's going to be like open plains and stuff like that. So that's the main reason. It's not just bigger because bigger. But they also did sort of say that, like, indicate Tashara is going to be a bit like Kobo, where that's where they've spent most of the time. So don't expect the same level for all the planets, because I know some people saying, "Oh, we're just going to get like 10, 15, 100 planets that like as big as GTA 5, but no, it's not. Like the map is smaller than GTA 5. Like, there's a comparison, and it's gonna be the main planet that they've spent creating the original for like Kobo. Also today, really weird, but Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga's just got a new duplication glitch brought back. So it was a glitch at the when the game came out, and they've just enabled it as a feature over a year later.
What do you duplicate?
So you play as Mando, and you are able to switch to Grogu, and then change Grogu to any other character and just keep repeating it, so you can have more than 2 characters at any time. Because it was a bug, but they took it away because it was.
But it was a fun bug.
So they've brought it back as an extra. You type in the code, and it allows you to do it properly. But it's really strange because there was the update on May 4th, which added 1 new character, Luke Starkiller, which was already weird. And then they just said today, oh yeah, this is part of it. So they've left it like a good few months before saying, I don't know what's going on over there.
Well, and if you guys have massive problems with Kathleen Kennedy, you can also play as Kathleen Kennedy in the game, and you can fire her.
You can play as Kathleen Kennedy.
You could fire her if you want to, all you want.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
That's gonna be a winner. Is that exclusive to the PS5, or are we all gonna get to do this? Like,
oh no, it's only on the Wii. Only on the Wii.
On the Wii.
The original Wii.
Yeah, it's funny, man. As you saw that line, Bobby Kotick said that the Switch 2 would be closer to Gen 8 PS4 tech, and I'm like, great, because the fucking Switch is like Wii tech. Like it's I mean, they're doing a lot with it, but it's Wii tech with Bloom.
I'll tell you. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, fucking best game I've played in 10 years. Best game. It's so good.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this year for games has been incredible. Like there's been so many good games. They've all been selling well, and people seem to forget. But like in terms of revenue, the games industry makes more than film, TV, and music put together. Like it's just bigger in that way. So people aren't going to see films, but they're buying games.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, as it's true, it was a nice surprise to have you on today. Sorry, I didn't see your message in time.
Problem.
We'll be back. Tomorrow's the 4th of July here, so I'm going to be doing.
I'm going away for a few days, so
because you love America.
I'll be back for a while. Yeah.
Are you going somewhere cool or?
I'm going to see the F1 race this weekend.
Oh, okay, nice.
I'm camping this time.
With Mangold?
You're
going with Mangold, huh?
George might be there.
Taking
so that's another thing I wanted to mention. I noticed at the Indy premiere, George didn't look like too good, and usually George goes to a lot of F1 races, and he didn't.
George hasn't been doing. He hasn't been doing great.
Yeah, it's so I was like, because he usually turns up, and he hasn't been at the races.
There's a racer that he is starting a production company that's like his friend, and they hang out and stuff. They're like real life buddies.
Yeah, and, I'd imagine it's Lewis, who's my favorite.
And they he wasn't.
George stopped him from retiring when he got cheated. And like that was like an amazing story.
It's cool.
Such a good story. Yeah.
So, anyways, though, but I mean, people need to realize that George Lucas is over 80 years old, and and that's why when they try to prop him up, like he's gonna buy Star Wars back, blah blah blah. It's like, no, buddies. I mean, come on. Like, do you not even know? You don't know how Hollywood works, but do you know how time works? Fucking idiots. That said, it was a good time. It was a good show. A good discussion. I don't know what the right answer is on Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know if there is a right solution. And it's like
she's gonna end up. She's gonna end up running Universal, right? If she don't retire, you think?
Well, her husband is 76. She's like 70 something, 70 to 72. I can't remember now. And at some point, she should, enjoy her life and not just work. But I guess she likes making movies a lot, and I'm gonna assume so. That's
Harrison's still going.
Harrison's still going. He doesn't need money. And it doesn't. Harrison's a weird one though, because he doesn't need money. He doesn't seem to need validation. There's been
I
no
think he
indication.
said the reason why he says he just doesn't do good when he's not filming, like he's done so much more recently because he's like, what have I got to do? Like, if I was a millionaire, I'd not work for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm playing.
Oh yeah, no,
games,
me and Azatru and Rob, we'd be on like a fucking Titanic replica, being like, let's fucking get the band out and let them play, right? Yeah, that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, and here's the part where we put the PCP in the clam chowder.
Dude, I found the interview where Cameron actually admitted it. Like PCP? It was PCP. Yeah. I found one. It was actually done recently with the Canadian interviewer, and he brought it up to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, the guy put it in there." Apparently, he thinks he was disgruntled with the company itself. He was a chef there, and he wanted them to lose the contract. That's why everyone got it. It wasn't like they were trying to get him specifically, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw. Were you the one who gave me the interview with what's his name? The guy who's the guy who's like
that's a question.
The guy who goes on the underwater expedition who just died, Paxton. It was Bill Paxton. And he was like saying he's all like everybody starts freaking out and like the paramedics start arriving and stuff. And he says he looked at Cameron and he said like I'm just gonna go get a 6-pack and fucking ride this out. And I was like, yeah, that's my boy. That's how I do it. That's how I did it too.
The crazy part was they were in Nova Scotia, so the hospital only had like one person there working. Yeah. 82 people showed up. Wow. They're all fucked up on PCP.
Not a good time and
nightmare.
Some people had a couple bowls, but I'm guessing
like that's one episode of Black Mirror you could do, right?
Yeah. I watched the new Black Mirror episodes. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I like how Azure was like, if I was a billionaire, I'd never work again. Off to go play Lego Star Wars for the 800th time.
Make a video about it.
Oh no, I don't really play games.
And then I'm going to hang out my F1 races, and then I'm going to see Indiana Jones. But if I was a billionaire, I'd never work again.
Listen. Just because Azatru is not a billionaire doesn't mean he's not a jet setter. All right, get it right.
Living the dream, that guy. You know what I mean? Living the dream.
And I don't even have
good
to play.
Looks. Full head of hair, and no long COVID, as far as we can tell.
No,
right?
No.
I have to say though, my smell hasn't been as good. I can't really smell much.
So, externally or internally, like
I just can't smell like food and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just clarifying that for the audience.
Well, okay. I gotta go because my kid's hungry and I'm gonna have a little revolt right now if we don't go. I'll see everybody later. Rob, I'm gonna take off right as the show's done because I gotta go.
All right.
All right. I'll see everybody. I'll talk to you later.
Enjoy your grimace.
Bye, guys. Enjoy the race.
Enjoy the
race.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey! It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.